Cashomaniacs.
Geo Gearheads.
Welcome back to Geo Gearheads episode 467. I'm Daryl W4 back as usual with Chris of the Northwest, and we have what should be a rather interesting show tonight. So before we get into that, Chris, it's good to see you again.
Daryl, always good to see you. It's getting to be interesting. What are we over 280 days into our 3-week quarantine?
Yeah, I don't remember whether we actually said it was 3 weeks in Michigan.
Okay.
But yes.
Yeah, I think that was the idea originally.
I think someone had the multiplier wrong.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be 3 times 7. It was 3 times
700.
365. So we're not even a third of the way through yet.
No. It's good that we're seeing some vaccines coming out. Now we're doing the mass testing, the beta testing, shall we say? Did I say that out loud?
Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah. But hopefully that starts this herd immunity and allows us to return to whatever normal used to be. And I don't know if it ever will be quite the same again.
No, it probably won't. But that's the way that culture changes and life evolves. It's, you take the lessons, you learn them and move on. Well, hopefully you learn them. You definitely move on.
Facts of life. Weren't you doing a theme song there to a 70s sitcom? Okay.
Well, that was actually an 80s sitcom.
That was an 80s sitcom. You're right. Yeah. Okay.
Which I only know because we had a whole conversation about that a few weeks ago.
Okay. Well, we're not here to talk about 80s sitcoms, but we can.
We could. I don't think our guests would appreciate that very much. We've got a couple of guests to talk with us tonight about how to deal with trip planning when all of the services are closed.
Mm-hmm.
So first, why don't we bring Notable Finds on? Welcome to the show.
Trip planning when all of the services are closed.
Whoa, okay. We've got a loop back going there.
Welcome to the show. Trip planning when all of the services.
I'm going to mute your mic there for a moment. You probably have to go and close the YouTube or Facebook stream. That's likely what's happening there. So while we're waiting for her to do that, GSM times 2, welcome back to the show.
Well, gosh, thank you very much. I'm so excited that you guys contacted me and asked me to participate.
Well, we're thrilled to have you back. It's always a pleasure.
When Daryl mentioned we should do a trip planning show, you're the first person that came to mind for me. Like, he's out doing trips almost every day. Or you're really trippy. Which one? I don't remember which one it is.
Tripping out every day. I think you're a little confused, but that's okay. We'll work it out.
All right, let's try Notable Finds again.
Tripping out every day. I think you're a little confused, but that's okay.
No, it sounds like you still have that other window open. So if you can close that, and we'll hopefully get you in with a clean feed and not have to hear a bounce back. But in any case, why don't we get started while she's working on that? GSM times 2. I understand that you actually have something that you're going to try to do for one of these kind of extra special days.
I do, but what I'd like to do is go back to March when all of a sudden things started closing down.
I don't want to go back to March.
In March, we had hope.
We did. I hesitate to say, but it was going to be done by Easter, so that's okay. So I mean, back in March, I'm out geocaching just like I normally do. Drive someplace, and suddenly I can get gas, but I can't find an open restroom, and that really kind of changed a little bit, and it's gotten better. But if we can get Carolyn to turn off whatever is causing her issues, like to bring her in and have her talk about the X factor, represent the X chromosome in this situation.
And have her
Nope.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, it looks like she's still got that other loop back happening.
Can you go ahead and kick me out and Carolyn out and let me see if we can get that taken care of?
Sure. Sounds like a good plan. But yes, so that has been one of the big things, not just for the special days like, Thanksgiving was a big day here. New Year's was a big day. And of course, geocaching day, as we like to call it, which is Christmas Day, where anyone who doesn't have somewhere else to be goes out and does the geocaching thing, which for me started with, well, it started with the family members. Everyone was doing Christmas with their families either before or after Christmas, because no one could get together on Christmas Day because they all had other things with the other families. So we ended up with this time on Christmas Day to go out geocaching, and it really, the first few years especially, was very surreal because it's like everything is a ghost town. Tumbleweeds in the street, the whole thing.
Isn't that pretty much Detroit at any time now?
No, Detroit's actually.
Is it
I can't really say because I haven't been down in like a year now, but Detroit's actually been fairly active as of late.
Okay. I always make fun of Detroit. I'm sorry, Daryl.
No, you're not.
You're right. I mean, when I was growing up, Detroit was a booming place, but it seems in the last, maybe I'll even go 20 years, that there's been a huge decline.
See, I think it's been on the comeback kind of the last like 10, 15 years.
Okay.
But the decline started long before, then, because it really started late 60s, and by the early 70s, it was well and good dead.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not what it used to be.
No.
I remember in the 60s, I think it was, they made a pitch for the Olympic Games. And there's a really cool, good video that this city had made. It was a film back in the 60s, of course, but it was a film about, what a bustling metropolis Detroit is. So it was quite an interesting view. All right, so let's bring back GSM times 2 and Notable Find. And hopefully we've got the audio issues addressed. But let me unmute you there. Okay. Welcome back.
All right. All right.
So as you guys are going out doing geocaching, even just day trips, we're not talking, planning multi-day power trail, but even just day trips. Has your go bag or your caching mobile loadout changed in any way?
I always have toilet paper.
And Mark may have been one of the few people that did.
No, I mean, as females, I don't know if I can say this on this podcast, but
of course
Go
you
ahead.
can.
You can. Trust me. That's why I invited you, Carol.
As a guy, your world is your urinal. You can go anywhere. But for girls, it's different. And you better bring some toilet paper. And then you better be able to find a bush. And that is sometimes not available, especially in the desert. And so I have walked, probably easily a quarter of a mile, hoping that the curvature of the earth would hide what I'm doing. and then I have to walk all the way back, and but it's all good. I mean, there are things that are just different between girls and guys. What can we say?
I would say that you're walking into the desert waiting for the moon to go down. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, yes, and even that, I walked a long way to find the largest mesquite bush in the world, and okay, I pulled them down only to find that I-95 was right behind me, and all these trucks honked, and they went, woo, woo, woo.
Well,
you know, I have to say I had a very similar situation. I dropped my family off at a theater in downtown Seattle, and I went out caching. And you know, I'm going to say it, I'm cheap, right? So I went caching. I figured, okay, the show should be done by now, and I came back, and I really had to go. Well, downtown Seattle, anywhere you park is $20.
Oh yeah.
And like I have to go, but I'm too cheap to pay for that. And you know, I picked them up and I was like, come on, we're going. And I figured once we get out of the city, I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I couldn't find anything. So I finally pulled off and found, you know, a railroad crossing off the freeway. I'm gonna go there. And I get there. Oh, okay, everything's fine. I go behind the switch box and I start and I look off to my left, and here comes a train right at me. Oh, well, that didn't work. Well, I can't stop now.
I still say you are a lucky man, because as a female, I can't do that.
Exactly.
I mean, and you know, there's a whole slew of other things that I could go into here. I mean, as a female, you're not tall enough. As a female, golly, you're more vulnerable. You know, it's nice to go with a guy, I'm just saying, or you know, another gal, something. I mean, there are some places in Los Angeles you just don't want to be in. So there are so many different things that we have to deal with. You know, oh, and including I can drop a tear. I think my best one was, there was a woman, I was doing the bush hide outside of her fence, and she came out very angrily. What are you doing here? And I dropped a tear. I dropped a tear and I said, I'm burying my dog's ashes here. and he loved this particular bush. Oh. I'm afraid to say that is absolutely true. And, I guess we do we do what we have to do.
You have changed my entire view of womanhood from now on. I'm not believing a word.
You just revealed your superpower.
That's the superpower of females. Yes, we can drop a tear, and you know, and I know men don't really know how to deal with it, but oh golly, excuse me while I cry.
Okay.
You're right. All three of us men here have no idea how to deal with what you just did.
And I could try and imitate her, but I don't think it's going to have the same effect.
It does on policemen too.
I don't think it's going to have the same effect.
I've done that. I've used that technique in front of policemen, and I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and they break down. I mean, good. But again, that is one of our superpowers. That's really not bad for me to admit. I'm sorry, that's not good. But I will say other things. Women have smaller hands. We can reach into things better than guys can. you know. Um, so that's good. I think females have more patience. Um, maybe. Shucks. And again, I said I can drop a tear probably a lot faster than you can.
I believe back in March, you probably could have gotten access to the restrooms where I wasn't able to. But if this continues, and hopefully it won't, but if it does continue, I will try that.
Well, hey, you want to be my Geo buddy? Hey, yes, because we can do this.
Sounds like a good plan, Carolyn.
You do. You have superpowers, and I have my superpowers, and I think that's we all do.
All right. So, and Daryl's going, can we get back to the topic? Can we get back to the topic?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it is the topic, but yeah. Well, you brought up an excellent point, though, which is not just for women being vulnerable or, the height difference kind of things, but it's always best when you are caching in these services not available modes to have a partner.
Mhm.
Because you never know what's going to happen. You might need someone to help out with something. And, it could be as simple as your phone dies. What are you going to do? If you drop your phone, in most cases, it's probably not going to be that big a difference. But, you're going to be able to make it home. But for most of us, that's everything. And if we're somewhere we don't know, we might have a hard time getting back. So just even to have that spare device is kind of a nice thing. But always, I love having someone with me when I go caching. It makes it more enjoyable anyway, but it is also a safety net.
Amen.
Yeah.
And that's true at any time, Daryl, in the before
Absolutely.
times and now.
Yeah. If something happens that's really bad, hopefully you have someone to call for assistance, call 911 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if I go out caching with my wife, there's a lot of caches she can't physically reach. So even that kind of stuff is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always that 2-person thing, you might have a cache that actually needs it that you didn't expect it. So having the extra set of hands, being able to do the one person stays in the car and keeps it running, all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For the quick parking grabs, it's sure nice to have a driver and you can jump out and grab them and go.
Yeah. Well, and this is a perfect time for PowerShell.
Okay,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, down here in LA, I mean, I don't dare go out as a female alone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
There's parts of the cities near me, not just Detroit, but there are areas near me where I won't go out alone.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It's just not the kind of place you want to be. And there are places where I just avoid, period, because I don't know enough to be able to feel safe enough going out caching there.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes some of the wood areas too.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be urban. It could be wooded areas where it's just not appropriate to go out caching without the proper attire and training and that kind of stuff. I don't have a whole lot of those around me, but some of them are, like kayak caches, and I am not an active kayaker. I'm not going to go and try it.
Well, Daryl, you bring up a good point because, as the environment change around us, what used to be a nice park now could be not necessarily as safe, even in the daytime, as especially at night. So while you're following the arrow, you got to stop and look around you and know where you are and know what's going on around you. I mean, getting that smiley is, not as important as keeping yourself safe.
Well, and we have a new problem that's popped up, which is many of the park systems are either overworked and understaffed or have had staffing cut. And in many cases, the parks are still open. If they're not open, that's probably even worse. But the parks are open; they're being used more, and
Being
there
maintained.
are correct. They're not being maintained as much as they should be. So it is a big issue that you have to be wary of. That said, the parks that I've gone to have been in great shape. So I'm not trying to complain, but I have heard from other people that they actually run into these problems. And when I did the CETO at the local city park in a town like almost an hour away, it was much more obvious there that people have not been taking care of the park like they usually did, and just a lot more garbage. Nothing terrible, just a lot of garbage.
Right.
More than normal.
Yeah. And typically that park is in great shape. We maybe get like one full garbage bag, and we ended up with a few garbage bags this time.
And it's also interesting to me that, in these times of pandemic, and I know Carolyn and his experiences is there are people where we used to cash together, we don't cash together. I've cashed on Thursday with a couple people until 4 weeks ago, when I'm just like, I'm not going to do this right now. So, yeah.
And that's an excellent point as well, is are you close enough to these people that you might go caching with to make it worth going caching in the current situation?
Right.
Many times I go in separate cars, we'll caravan, and then we go out and cache. And then it's safe. I feel safe.
Well, and mask up and keep your
right. Yeah.
that kind of
Mask
stuff.
ups and then shields down, windows down. Yeah.
There you go. You're still cross-contaminating the pods, though, right?
Yeah.
You've got your group of people, and they've got their group of people. So
well, I really try not to do that. I have one person in my bubble, and that's it. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And but like I say, well, we were talking about one thing that we do, or I've been doing 8 of the last 10 years, is called 101 on 101, and it's trying to go get 101 urban caches on January 1st.
Oh.
And, yeah, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm trying to organize it again this year, and we're trying to figure out, what's going to satisfy my needs and everybody else's needs for us to be in a car together an entire day. It's a sunrise to into the evening effort to get 101 geocaches in an urban area. This is not a power trail where you can get 101 geocaches in 3 hours.
Well, and it is really challenging, especially if you're trying to limit it to daylight hours, because here in the Northern Hemisphere, and you're a little bit more southerly, but here it feels like we're dealing with about 4 to 5 hours of sunlight.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
We can't do it in the daytime. We can't do it in daylight hours. Last year when we did it, we started at 6:30, right at the crepuscular hour, and we got our last cache about 8:30. We stopped for dinner, and then we got one last cache after that to finish up our 101. But,
so you're not doing 101 on 101 just on 101, right? You're not using just Highway 101.
I did that the first couple of years. We've run out of space on 101.
You just need to convince the hiders to replace their caches and start over again.
New year, new
time to refresh the game board.
But like Christmas, it is a great time to go geocaching because all the businesses are closed. All those dentist's office and all
Mhm.
those all those bank parking lots, they're all empty. Most of the malls are closed. And then this year, hopefully, we'll still have gas stations and drive-throughs open. But
See, out
yeah,
here we have the malls open. It is a big shopping day, but
right,
all of your like professional services, your industrial are all closed. So it is a lot easier, but you'll have the advantage that most, not all, but most of the restaurants would be open.
right. The fast foods are open,
Yeah.
and you know,
Well, and a
and
lot of anyone who serves alcohol is typically open.
They're still open.
I
Yeah.
have no clue.
Well, that includes like your, TGI Fridays kind of places too.
Right.
Applebee's. Applebee's is probably doing gangbusters business if they were actually open for sit-down dining.
I was going
Right.
to say most places are closed for sit-down dining. Now I know there's going to be some places that are open, but is it California and New York both closed outdoor dining as well?
California, I know, did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know New York has. Yeah. So, that's tough. I mean, I feel bad for all these restaurant workers that are out of work. I mean, I've been tipping like I've never tipped before,
Right.
but that how much does that help?
Well, you just need to stop drinking so much, Chris.
Oh, I'm just tipsy like I've never been tipsy before. Let me take another drink here.
The ones that really are troubling to me are going to be the theaters, the movie theater.
Oh, yes,
Sure.
yes.
Totally off subject, but at this point, I don't see a way for them to come back to profitability. Period. All of the studios have pulled their theatrical releases for the next year.
Mhm.
So even when they reopen next year, hopefully, they're not going to have anyone coming back because who wants to go to a theater after all of this? Who's going to trust going to a theater? And the sales of home theater equipment have been through the roof
Mhm.
to the point where it's hard to find stuff.
Now,
So-
at the same time, I have been being hired for.
Carolyn, why? Yeah, give us your background just a little bit because you're in the business.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I work in the business. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You want more?
No, just
Give us
go
the
ahead.
business.
No, I'm kind of a site representative for folks that do, commercials, movies, etc. But all that being said, shucks. Well, last week we got closed down because one person on what is called the A zone, which means they're either a production manager, a producer, this or that. They had COVID-19, so they shut the whole damn thing down. I was supposed to be working yesterday, but I didn't. Well, where was I going with this, Scott? Dang.
Well, we're talking about the theaters.
Daryl's talking
Okay,
about the theaters
The
and
theaters are. I don't know about the theaters, but I know that as a person that works in the production company, we are still considered apparently like a restaurant or a store. What is that called? Help me here.
you're essential workers. You're being considered essential workers.
Yeah, an essential worker, and I don't. Well, whatever.
But you're essential workers with extremely
golly.
strict protocols. Maybe
Yeah.
you could talk about what it is that you have to
Right,
do.
we have to
just to
wear
be
the
on.
masks. Not only the mask, but the coverings, and you almost have to come in with, I mean, and it depends. They have different zones. Zone A is right around the cast and characters. Zone B is a little further away. Zone C, they have all these wonderful, interesting things. And then, by God, you do have to take a COVID test. I know that I'm negative, so that's woohoo. But that's only negative as of the day before yesterday. So I'm negative there, and then we're gonna go. They closed the whole dang thing down, and then we'll do it again on January 6th. But I'll have to take another COVID test then, and I'll let you know. Hey, I'm good to go. But it's really wild taking COVID test after COVID test after, and you have to spit in this little vial, and you get used to spitting in a vial, and that's disgusting. But but that's what one has to do to stay employed, frankly.
I think Tom Cruise just, had an explosive episode, and rightfully so, because what he was saying is true. They negotiated to get all of these safety protocols into place, and then if people don't follow them, and you experienced it yesterday or 2 days ago, one person gets it, the entire operation closes
it shuts down. It's the whole thing. And do you think how much money that costs? I mean, you're talking about the catering. You're talking about people that build the sets, people that, it goes on and on and on. And it's an incredible amount of money.
Yeah. And there was that recent woman in Los Angeles whose restaurant had closed down. She can't do outdoor dining, and yet across the street from her is a production company eating their meals and so forth.
And my answer to that would be to hire her to cater it. She should cater the whole dang thing, frankly.
So she's right there. She's got everything she needs.
Yeah,
easy to do.
That's my take on that. I mean,
except it's hard to have the skills and the equipment and the people to be able to feed a production company in a time zone in a timely manner.
And they work at odd hours. They're not working from 8 to 5.
No.
I get up at 4 in the morning to do this stuff, and then to get it called off. Yeah, you're right.
So,
in any case,
okay. Can either of you, Notable Find or GSM times 2, tell us any secrets you have? So, if you're out and about and you need to use a restroom, is there, a secret spot that you're going to? I mean, can you get into the fast food restaurants? What are you doing?
Well, I now have a new weapon to get into the fast food restaurants if I need to. I'll try. They may just consider, this is just some crazy guy.
Turn your head and pluck a nose hair, and a tear will come.
Well,
or go with Notable Find and just sneak in behind her.
Exactly. Hold the door for me when you're done.
I do this. See this blonde hair?
Yeah.
I flip that, but it's really brunette underneath. Oh my Lord.
Okay.
But I told you my tricks out in the desert. But out in the city, that's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All I can do is flip my blonde hair.
Well, and as Notable Find said, for males, the world is our urinal, but sometimes we need more than a urinal.
There you go. Yeah.
I wouldn't know about that.
I will, I will have to say, I don't know if bears do it in the woods or not, but I do know that Scott tries desperately not to do it in the woods. To the point that, sometimes my gluteus maximus are just cramped up. They've been pushed so tight. But anyway, we may be off topic. We may be canceled at any moment.
I have done that with bears in the woods, frankly, and I looked down and I went, "Oh my Lord, that's bear." And it was fresh bear. This was in Alaska, guys. Come on, give me a break.
Oh, you're talking about not looking at your own stuff. You're looking at
Oh
bear.
no,
Actual bear droppings. Okay.
I'm looking at the other stuff and I'm going, I'm in trouble. This stuff is pretty fresh. Okay, I better get out to the bush plane or the bush pilot. I ran out there and I ran it, and he said, "Why are you so late?" And I said, "As usual, there was a line in the women's." True story. True story.
And he says that Australian Health Department had sponsored an app with toilet locations. It's a bit old now, but still handy. Shows the nearest toilets.
Oh,
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Well, I know someone had created a public restroom app
Mhm.
that's all user,
Rates them.
and rates them and everything. And that had been something that was pretty good if you were in one of the more tech cities. In like San Francisco and Toronto, apparently it worked very well. In Detroit, when I had taken a look at it, it didn't do anything. So, but getting back to the locations, it's typically if there's a rest area, service center, that kind of thing on like an interstate, on a turnpike, those I find are open 24/7, 365. So you always have a backup there if there's one around.
Mhm.
Generally, they're not near cities though. So it doesn't really work when you're doing that urban caching.
Right.
Sometimes there's truck stops, and a lot of those will be open likewise 24/7. At least they're generally open during like regular business hours, so you'll have a chance.
Yep.
Yeah, but the old Starbucks standby and McDonald's, those are just typically not open anymore.
No. Well, and even on a good holiday, they'll
Mhm.
have reduced hours, so it is tough to find those kind of places. When you're out there. And to that subject of the food stuff, you do need to bring at least good like power bar kind of snacks.
Mhm.
Something that's going to fill you up if you can't find something to eat. Because when we've been out, it's been really, really rough to find someplace that's open on Christmas Day.
Oh,
Oh,
Lord,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's not easy on a normal day, and then you throw a holiday on top of it,
Right.
and difficulty increases. I think you ought to add an extra star to all your cache finds.
But is that difficulty or terrain? I'm not quite sure.
Both. I'll give you. It's a Christmas gift. I'll give you 2 stars.
Okay.
There you go.
All right. So I can go out and do a 6-6. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
But it is nice getting out and doing the cache. It's a little creepy too on the holidays like that because it's no one's out there.
Mhm.
So I do think
Right,
if you're
you're
going to
right.
pull up with like 6 different cars, people are going to take notice.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
but that means that you can just do a pull up to the curb, go and do your quick cache there in downtown, and come back out and go, and you've never blocked traffic.
Wait.
There is no traffic.
Okay. As a female, I can say a P&G in downtown LA is not very good.
So
Yeah.
what if somebody was driving you and they pulled up? Could you run out, get it? Would you feel okay with that?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would. Yeah, but by myself, as a female, no.
Right.
You know,
So
because look, I feel more vulnerable.
yes.
you know, there are a lot of psychological things going on there.
Mhm.
And shucks, if there was someone with me, oh, you betcha.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
okay. So think of this Christmas compared to last Christmas, right? If you wanted to do geocaching in downtown LA,
It's the
it's got,
same. Oh,
is it?
it's the same. I mean,
Okay.
LA is the same.
because it's not the lawyers and financial people and dentists and who are giving you issues.
Yeah.
It's the other people, and the other people are there all the time.
It's a little different this time,
Right.
Okay.
you know, can you give me $5? No, I don't have $5.
Right.
Can you do that? And shucks, it's just I don't go into that area, not alone.
Mhm.
Right.
I don't do it alone. So if I have a pal to do it with, you betcha, I'll do that. Yeah.
No, I don't have $5. Haven't you heard there's a national coin shortage?
I have a lot of quarters, honey.
That's where they went.
Spare change? You mean when my regular change is not available to me?
Apparently not.
So yeah, you got to plan ahead, bring the food.
Bring
It's
the food. Be prepared.
you
Yeah.
really do more than usual have to plan your bio breaks.
You have to plan the in and the out.
The bio breaks is
Yep.
important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know a few people who have done the holiday caching trips where they actually plan to go pack past home at some point just for that.
Mm.
It will be okay, we're going to head over this way and get the 40, 50 caches that are there. But if anyone needs to do a break, we're going to come back to the house, use the, and they'll pick whichever house they want to do, but pick the house. Everyone uses a restroom, and then they go in a different direction to get the next, 60 or 70 that they're shooting for, because that's the only restroom you can count on.
So a figure 8 trip, right? You're gonna go out.
Pretty much, yeah.
I was just thinking Cache Tour is going to have a holiday edition where they can either have one way, round trip, or figure 8. Yes.
There you go.
Well, you can just drop in the restroom stops in the Cache Tour.
There you
The
go.
same one in a few times.
Start at home, come back, go back out again.
But yeah, the number one thing to do is not go out on your own.
I agree with that at all
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go out on your own.
Thank you. As a female, I can say thank you for saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go out on your own.
Of course. And I think we've made that abundantly clear that that's our position, even though on certain park and grabs, that kind of stuff, I'm sure most of us have done it.
I can tell you that's my position. That's not always my practice.
Exactly.
And I suppose bringing an 8.5 pound dog doesn't count, does it?
Probably
I
not.
don't think so.
Oh, darn. Okay. Well, I can't wait till everything's over, everything's back to whatever the new normal is going to be, and we can go out all geocaching together in the same car, and
And have restrooms that are open.
and have restrooms that are open and gas stations that are open,
And events and restaurants again.
and events.
I would like events. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, I will have to say I miss the hugs. I miss the hugs of events
Yeah.
terribly. We
There you
have
go.
our Zoom. Yeah, I'm sorry, it just doesn't feel the same, Chris.
Okay.
It just doesn't. We got our Zooms, and thank goodness for Zoom. But
Mhm.
I miss these. I miss
miss those.
these. Oh.
Well, I miss the everyone running out to grab the same cache at exactly the same time.
Exactly.
And
That
then
too.
the new cache published. Everybody looked at their phones.
Exactly. So good.
Well,
but this will be over. Holidays will continue, though.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we will always have some of these issues to deal with. And interesting. Angel.
she's rubbing it in.
Yep.
Angel
There are events
B27
scheduled in
says,
Australia.
shall I say again? We have events scheduled here in Australia.
Oh my gosh, really?
Congratulations to Australia for just knocking this dead.
Mhm.
They are,
Yes.
you know, yesterday in Camarillo, we had 8 new cases. In Australia, they had 8 new cases.
Mhm.
Camarillo has 12,000 people. Australia has 23 million people, and they had the same number of cases yesterday.
Yeah.
They knocked it out of the park, and congratulations to them.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think New Zealand is doing similarly well too.
Yes, New Zealand is doing very well.
Yeah.
Should we start a new show of cashing in New Zealand?
I think so.
Move
There's
there.
already cashing down under, so it'd have to be cashing in New Zealand.
I would.
Cashing alongside.
I like that.
That's one of those destination places on my bucket list, though.
Yes.
Both of them, actually.
Me too. Let's go. Whoa.
Road trip.
That's the mass
I don't
exodus.
think they're going to
from the
let us
US.
in.
No, we're just going to be sitting there at the airport knocking on the door. Come on, we don't have COVID. We promise.
We'll stay in here for 2 weeks, please.
Oh my! Oh my! Oh my!
Oh man.
That's
We
right.
have gone for over 45 minutes, though.
I know.
Holy
This has
mackerel.
been a lot of fun.
It has
Do
been
we
a
have
lot of
any parting tips, though, that we want to share?
Party tips.
Parting
be,
tip.
be safe, be well,
Oh
be
gosh.
kind, and be smart.
Oh, I like that.
That sounds vaguely familiar, though.
It does.
And I can't place it.
If you
I
should know that.
Yeah,
if you
I'll
follow me
ditto
on
it.
Facebook, pretty much that's my sign off.
I will ditto what Scott says because I have a very small bubble, like of one person. Be safe. Be smart. If you have to go out, good heavens, be safe. Be smart, but only be 1 or 2. I mean, really, be small
Yeah.
at this point in time.
Hopefully, that won't last for a whole lot longer.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Exactly. Well, notable find in GSM times 2. Thank you for joining us this evening. We appreciate your information. This has been a lot of fun.
It has. And thank you for inviting me, Scott and Chris. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. We'll have to have you back.
Oh, please.
Oh, and folks, check out the Cashmaniacs website at cashmaniacs.com for more on the Geo Gearheads, including show notes for this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners. So leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads@cashmaniacs.com or through the many channels of social media. Your support helps keep the Cashmaniac shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron through the link on the website to support the Cashmaniac shows. Geo Gearheads is produced by Chris Umfenauer and Daryl Wattenberg. The show's copyright 2020 by Daryl Wattenberg. All rights reserved.
Cash with a cash media.